This is the Three Things with your host, Gene Church. Well, much of America got an opportunity to see last night's presidential debate. And one thing is clear, there were few Americans that were happy about what they saw. A total of 68.1 million Americans viewed the debates, and a cable channel received the highest ratings, beating out the networks. This is something that rarely ever happens. The winner? Fox News, with 17.8 million viewers, followed by ABC with 12.6 million viewers. From the perspective of the Republicans, this could be viewed as good news, as people tuned into the network most identified with the conservatives. But this was below the 77 million that watched the first presidential debate 4 years ago with Hillary Clinton. President Trump and Joe Biden talked over each other through much of the debate. There were very few substantive questions that were answered by the debaters. Chris Wallace showed himself to be frustrated and to be a biased and partisan individual. And throughout the debate, there lacked a breakout moment that really made either side happy. However, depending on what you were expecting and what you saw, there were in the 90-minute debate a few glimmers. To begin with, the Democrats received a massive influx of cash after the debate last night. Why? Well, Joe Biden didn't slobber. He called the President of the United States a clown, called him stupid, told him to shut up. For liberal partisans, that was a winning hand. Not so much for the American people, who were clearly frustrated with what they saw. Among Republicans, they saw some minor glimmers, but were disappointed that Joe Biden didn't slobber and that Trump kept interrupting before Joe was given a chance to make any kind of major gaffe. So let's look at some of the key points that happened in the debate. The first question centered on the Supreme Court. Trump contended that Amy Coney Barrett was an exceptional choice for the Supreme Court justice. Biden claimed that the American people should have a say in selecting the president and senator. Biden, though, was countered by President Trump, who contended that they did have a choice 4 years ago, and that Ruth Bader Ginsburg years ago said that the president's term was 4 years, not 3. Biden contended that Amy Coney Barrett would strike down the Affordable Care Act and Roe versus Wade. Trump pointed out that Roe was not on the ballot this time around, nor in fact before the court. When Trump contended that Biden was going socialist on health care, and then he agreed with Bernie Sanders on the Green New Deal and universal health care, Biden made the statement in retort, "The party is me." Dial-in polling among Democrats saw a rapid drop at this, and I expect Biden will have a lot of explaining to do about this in the future. Chris Wallace said he is the moderator of the debate and would like to ask a question. Trump said that it seemed like he was debating Wallace after Wallace asked him what Trump's health care plan would be. Biden began claiming that everything that Trump says is a lie. Wallace tried to retake control of the debate by asking about the Supreme Court and whether Biden would pack the court and the filibuster. Biden said the American people should speak and let their senators know how strongly they feel. Biden said he was not going to answer the question before Trump kept talking about the radical left. Biden said, "Will you shut up, man? This is so unpresidential." Interestingly enough, this was one of the few points of interest in the debate. Biden wanted the American people to vote and for him not to have to discuss what he was going to do about packing the court and the filibuster until after he was elected. This is not likely to go over well with many voters. The next issue was coronavirus. Biden accused Trump of panicking on COVID. He also claimed that Trump lacked any kind of plan concerning COVID. Trump had said that if Biden had his way, the country would have been wide open. Trump said that he closed it and that Biden called him xenophobic. Trump stated we are weeks away from a vaccine and that Biden would have made ventilators an impossibility to have occurred. Trump stated that he'd done a good job on the press in spite of fake news. He said Biden could not have been able to have done the job that he had done because it just simply was not in Biden's blood. Trump stated that Biden was a disaster when it came to swine flu. Biden claimed that Trump, on the vaccine, that more people would have, that a lot of, I'll get it in a moment, that Biden was claiming that Trump was responsible for a lot of deaths. Trump was claiming that Biden would have had more die had he been in charge. Chris Wallace told Trump that it would be summer before a vaccine would be widely available, and said that the head of Operation Warp Speed had said the same thing. Trump had said that it's a very political thing because, quote, people like this, pointing at Biden, want to make it political. Trump claimed that companies can go faster by a lot. He then did something strange, referencing the left and saying he doesn't know what he can call Biden, framing him as a moderate or a centrist. Biden then questioned whether Trump was smart. Trump told Biden never to use the word smart with him, saying that Biden graduated nearly at the last of his class and didn't go to Delaware State, a historically black college that Biden just this last week claimed that he had attended. Trump said Biden wants to shut down the country and says Democrats in swing states want to shut down their states until November for the political reasons. Trump mocked Biden for wearing big masks, and Biden said, quote, masks make a big difference, unquote, and that 100,000 lives would have been saved if we wore masks and social distance until January. Trump said he's okay with masks, but that he is, quote, not fighting masks. Wallace said Trump is holding rallies outside. Trump and Biden are holding Trump had said Biden, of course, is holding smaller rallies because nobody wants to show up. And Wallace actually chuckled at that point. Trump stated that he is holding large outdoor rallies because people want to hear what he has to say, and said he had, quote, no problem whatsoever with the tremendous crowds at the Haga rallies. Trump said Joe does the little circles and he'll have 3 or 4 people someplace at his events. Biden then tried to mock Trump for telling the reporter to stay away from him and put on a mask. He's not worried about you, Biden said. He's been totally irresponsible. And then Biden adds the word fool right after that, described Trump as how he handled the coronavirus. Trump stated Biden would have the same outdoor rallies if people were actually interested in showing up, but then nobody really cared about Biden's rallies. Trump said the shutdowns are likely to be like prison, and stated that Biden will destroy the country with the shutdowns. Biden claimed that millionaires and billionaires have done well in the coronavirus, while everyday people like in Scranton, Pennsylvania are not. He mentioned a claim that Trump had only paid $750 in taxes, and that Trump would be the first person to leave office having created fewer jobs than he came into office with. Biden stated that people have lost their jobs are the ones that have been on the front lines risking their lives. You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis, Biden stated. He also stated that the schools aren't open because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. He stated that he had done nothing, that Trump had done nothing to help the schools or small businesses. Trump countered and contended that he should be able to respond to Biden's criticisms since there was a long period of time there. He stated people want their schools opened up and that New York is like a ghost town. Biden said people want to be safe. Trump then talked about bringing back Big Ten football, and he said that the people of Ohio were very proud of him. Wallace asked Trump about taxes. Trump claimed he was under leveraged, and Biden asked Trump to show us his taxes. Chris Wallace said he was going to ask a specific question about how much he paid in income taxes in 2016 and 2017. Trump claimed he paid millions of dollars. Trump also said he came to Washington, and when he did, he was a private developer, and he didn't want to pay taxes, and he didn't need to pay. Trump said some of his tax credits that he used were actually given to him by the Obama administration. Biden said the tax code that allowed Trump to pay less taxes than a school teacher was because of the, quote, Trump tax code that Biden wanted to eliminate. Trump asked and pointed out that these actually went before him and asked why Biden didn't do it over the last 25 years. Biden said it was because he wasn't president screwing things up and that Trump is the worst president America has ever seen. Trump said he had done more in 4 years, or as he said, 47 months than Biden did in 47 years, including fixing a broken military that Biden had given him. And that was one of the good lines we heard from Trump. Trump claimed that Biden administration had to just turn on the lights to get the jobs, but instead provided the slowest recovery since the 1920s. Trump noted that half the companies would leave if Biden raised taxes and stated, quote, "You will have a depression the likes of which you have not seen," unquote. Wallace mentioned that Biden created more jobs than Trump has. He failed to note that those jobs were low-paying ones, however, and that wage growth under Trump has been tremendous. Trump said Obama-Biden destroyed manufacturing. Biden claimed he brought back an auto industry and that Trump, quote, blew it. Trump said that many Ford companies under his administration had come back to Ohio and Michigan. Trump stated, "China ate your lunch, Joe." He stated that Biden's son took out millions from China and asked, what did Biden's son to deserve the millions that the mayor's wife of Moscow gave him? Biden claimed that this was, quote, totally discredited. However, he gave no evidence for his claim. Biden then claimed that his son did nothing wrong at Burisma and claimed that Trump's position had been discredited. Trump kept hammering Biden on Hunter's shady dealings and wouldn't let him off the ropes. Biden said that we could talk about Trump's families and ethics all night. He said this is not about his family or Trump's family, but about your family. Wallace said Trump had interrupted more than Biden and didn't allow Trump to keep hammering Biden on Hunter. Wallace mentioned Trump claimed he had done more for blacks than anyone except for Lincoln. Biden accused Trump of calling people on both sides, quote, very fine people in Charlottesville, and said African Americans had been hit hard by COVID. Of course, this is a lie that Biden keeps peddling despite knowing that it's false. Biden ripped Trump for attacking peaceful protesters outside the White House who were protesting George Floyd's death. Trump mentioned Biden's 1994 crime bill and claimed blacks were, quote, super predators. Trump and said that Biden treated African American community terribly and stated that Biden will not say law enforcement because he's afraid of losing the radical left. Trump stated that people of the country want law and order and that Biden is just simply afraid to say those words. Then another big issue arose. Chris Wallace asked Biden what reimagining police means and if he supports Black Lives Matter's call for community policing. Biden said he is not for defunding the police, but talked about community policing, saying officers should know the community and have counselors with them in some instances. Trump asked Biden to name one law enforcement group that supports him, and Biden couldn't answer. Wallace let Biden off the hook and asked his next question about Portland. Biden claimed Kellyanne Conway said riots helped Trump's cause, and that's why Trump doesn't want to calm things down. Biden said all that Trump does is pour gasoline on the fire. Conway commented today claiming that Biden's claim was false. Wallace sarcastically told Trump he could switch seats if he wanted to. Wallace said Trump had repeatedly criticized Biden for not calling out Antifa. He asked if Trump is willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. Trump said he was willing to do that and said almost anything he sees is from the left wing. Trump told them to stand back and then said, we need to do something about Antifa. Today, Democrats have tried to claim that Trump spoke in favor of white supremacy, including Biden, who stated that he told them to stand up. Biden said Antifa is an idea and not an organization, according to Trump's FBI director. Of course, that statement was also false. Trump said Antifa is dangerous and will even overthrow you. Trump pointed out that despite the impeachment hoax, there has never been an administration that has done what he has done. He talked about the lowest unemployment numbers and the greatest economy before COVID hit. Trump said we're building the economy back up again after talking about fixing the VA, which was a mess under Obama-Biden, and building up the military. Trump noted at the end of his first term, he will have appointed 300 federal judges and hopefully 3 Supreme Court justices. Trump stated that if he were a Democrat, he thought that Biden would not be a good president for having left 128 judges for Trump to appoint. Biden then stated that under Trump, we have become weaker, sicker, poorer, and more divided. Trump said that when he was vice president, he helped fix the recession and helped left Trump a booming economy and blamed Trump for the recession. Biden called Trump Putin's puppy and said that Trump hadn't said anything about the Russian bounties. Wallace keeps chiding Trump for interrupting, but Biden said Trump never kept his word. Biden said that his son, who served in the military, was a patriot and not a loser. Trump said that Hunter Biden was thrown out of the military dishonorably for cocaine use and didn't have a job until Biden became vice president. Biden and his son had said his son had a drug problem and was proud that he fixed it, like a lot of people. Wallace said he thinks the American people want to hear more about substantive issues after Trump kept hammering Biden over the wife of the mayor of Moscow paying his son Hunter $3.5 million. Wallace again got in the middle of as Trump was trying to put Biden on the ropes. Biden then got the opportunity to address climate change. And this was an issue that was not even scheduled for the evening, but was added by Chris Wallace. Wallace asked Trump about climate change and the fires out west. Trump pointed out that the fires were due to poor fire management and that the Paris Accords were designed to cost businesses money. Biden said he would rejoin the Paris Accord before Trump rips the Green New Deal. Trump then said the Green New Deal wants to take out cows, take down buildings, rebuild them under green standards. Wallace asked Biden if this plan would hurt the economy. And this was kind of an odd answer. Biden said it would create millions of good paying jobs and spoke about tax incentives for weatherization. But despite having claimed that the Green New Deal would have absolutely no cost, he then said that the Green New Deal was not his plan. Oh, that's a big statement, Trump said again, saying to Biden that he was going to lose the radical left. Biden said he supports the Biden plan. Although if you go to his webpage, you see that he speaks supporting the Green New Deal. Biden mocked Trump for saying he wanted to drop a nuclear bomb on a hurricane. Trump claims he never said that. Biden then said that derechos in the Midwest happened because of global warming. Trump kept asking why Biden hadn't done anything on climate change for 47 years. He said Biden had allowed China to send dirt up into the atmosphere. The last segment was on election integrity. Chris Wallace asked how confident we should be that there would be a fair election. Wallace asked what they will do to reassure the next president will be legitimate. Now, Biden said Trump officials had said there was no evidence that people will cheat with mail-in ballots. Biden said there'll be enough poll watchers to make sure that people can vote in person while socially distancing. And that's kind of ironic because if that were the case, there's no real need to have this push for mail-in voting. Biden said Trump wants to dissuade people from voting. And he told people to show up to vote because, quote, you will determine the outcome of the election, unquote. He said that Trump cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of the election. Biden said if he wins, it will be accepted, and if he loses, it will be accepted. Trump stated that there has been no transition because Democrats spied on his campaign and tried to do a coup. They were a disaster and they were a disgrace to the country. Trump stated that as far as ballots are concerned, it's been a disaster. Trump said solicited ballots are okay, but unsolicited ballots are not okay. He stated that they have found some in creeks, some in waste paper baskets. This is going to be fraud like you've never seen, Trump stated. Trump said that we might not know for months because these ballots will be all over. Trump claimed that we are losing 30 to 40% with misplaced ballots and said that this is fraud. Trump stated that it's happening in states all run by Democrats because it's a rigged election. Biden stated that if he gets the votes, Trump can't stay in power and will go. Biden asked if voters want 4 more years of these lies. Wallace asked both candidates if they will not declare that they won until the election has been independently certified and asked the supporters not to engage in civil unrest and to stay calm. Of course, we've never done that in the history of our country. Trump said he is urging his supporters to go to the polls and to watch very carefully. Trump said if he sees tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, he can't go along with that. He stated that it means you have a fraudulent election and kept saying they cheat with the ballots. Immediately after the debate, the press went into a tizzy, wanting to claim that there should be no more debates and Biden should refuse to debate. But this raises an important question. If they believe that Biden won as they claimed, why do they want no more debates? I suspect the issue is far more devious than this. I think they believe that if Biden didn't fall into dementia, they don't want to give it another chance. Let's coast to victory. The debate itself was a turnoff to many Americans. Whatever middle there is, it was dissuaded from being involved in this election. This can turn this from an election to where you bring out your base. The significance of this is that there appears to be far more enthusiasm among Republicans than among Democrats. When you realize that only 60% of the voters typically turn out, a turnout the base election could still result in a substantial voter turnout if many of your potential voters stayed at home last time. Expect to see a lot of people claiming one person or the other won, but for many people, they're going to see that the American people lost this one. For the three things, I'm Gene Church.